Hey, Gary here. Welcome to BookMob episode 53. Now, today's episode, I'm going to be talking about 5 books that I think that you can give as Christmas gifts to someone that you know, your brother, your sister, your father, your mother, your cousin, your lover, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever. If you're looking for a lovely gift to give to someone, the gift of reading, I've chosen 5 books that I hope and I think are books that have stood the test of time and that general readers, people who don't read as a hobby or as a pastime, will pick up and be able to read, and enjoy and be entertained and thoroughly find out, there is something to reading. Now, this is especially for the Christmas period because a lot of people have extra time, and I can think of nothing better than giving someone a book and you say, read this book, and they'll spend the next 4 or 5 days, during their barbecues at evening before they go to bed, have a few drinks, have a cigar or two. But what I'm saying is I've picked 5 books that I really do honestly and sincerely believe that you can get someone into reading, and perhaps this one book could change someone's reading performance for 2025. All right. Other than talking about the books, in the second half of today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how you can present your gift, your book gift, to someone that you love or care about or friendly with in such a way that they may be almost determined that they're going to read it because of what you have done. But we'll talk about that after I go through the 5 books that I've chosen, personal books that I've read them all. I have enjoyed them all. I've read them more than once. All of them I've read more than once, and I think are entertaining. Their brevity, they're not tomes, they're not expected to be requiring someone to have an intellectual genius level of reading. These are books that I think will literally entertain people and give them reading pleasure. Okay, so the first book for today that I've chosen, and I've mentioned this before on BookMob, is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, written in 1966. Of course, it's such a popular book, well-known book, that immediately on its release in 1966, it was sold to be made a movie of. Now, the one thing again about books to movies is movies do not ever capture the substance, the depth, the intellectual rigor, and the beauty and the pleasure of the written word. So let's forget about, I'm only telling you that it's available as a movie because, well, it is, and I'm not going to hide that fact. But I'm trying to get you to give this book as a gift, as a present, as a Christmas present to someone you care about. Now, the story, it's one of those seminal novels, like I said, written in 1966 by Truman Capote, and it's about 2 young delinquents, men in America who have committed a foul crime. So it's a novelization. It's a novelization of an actual event. Now we've got to get away from this idea of I only read things that are true. This is a writer's own perspective, written as a novel, based on a real event. The major characters are true. The interactions between the writer and the perpetrators of this heinous crime, this murder of a family in the Midwest, and the 2 characters who are, basically you find out what are their motives, why do they do it, who they were. And Truman Capote, he spent a lot of time talking with these 2 criminals, and he creates this sort of like, if you don't, obviously I'm older and I can remember the the great days of the magazine, the Rolling Stone magazine, which is now just garbage. But in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, especially the 80s, they had this penchant for writing beautiful stories, getting writers to do interview people, and this is the kind of thing that probably bases a cultural impact. It was huge in its time, and it probably wasn't the first of its kind, but it certainly grabbed the majority of the audience. So the book that I'm going to be talking about, or the one I want you to get for your friend or lover or loved one, is Truman Capote, In Cold Blood, written in 1966. You can get great copies. You know, if you can find a hardback, excellent. You can buy it. I think it's definitely on Penguin Classics, the $12 version, paperback versions. It's in every bookstore. So this is a great one, and this is probably my number one choice for someone who doesn't read and needs to be directed towards something that will grip them. And this book, I feel, definitely will. Great. All right, the next book is by Walter Tevis. It's called The Man Who Fell to Earth, written in 1963. Now, again, film has been made on this, TV series have been made on this, and for one thing, the TV series has nothing on the book. The film is pretty good. The film made in the 70s, I think, which I really, with David Bowie playing the Man Who Fell to Earth, which is really, really good. It's a great film, but again, it falls short of the intensity and the the real drama of this stranger in a strange land. So Walter Tevis sort of came up with this idea of this person who's come from another planet to survey Earth because his planet is dying and he's looking for somewhere else for their civilization to go. And obviously the drama and the interactions with human beings is extremely well thought out. The story is just great. I mean, it just keeps going. And again, it's very short and it's highly entertaining, really enjoyable, and a real easy, gripping read. So that's The Man Who Fell to Earth by Walter Tevis, written in 1963. So there's two books so far, In Cold Blood and The Man Who Fell to Earth, which that I think that you can present to someone you care about for a Christmas gift this year in 2024. All right. The third book is a book called The Mist by Stephen King, written in 1980. Now, this is Stephen King has a magnificent way of creating characters and stories that take in the warts and all of personalities in contemporary American culture. And his stories always seem to be around how people can be nasty to each other in the lowest ebbs. Instead of people saving everyone, people look to themselves, people care about themselves. And The Mist is a real mystery story because there's no real understanding about what's going on. And the drama, which is set mostly in a supermarket where all different types of people from the local community have gathered as this mysterious mist rolls into the coastal town, and it's what happens within. You can't see shit in the mist. It's just a white fog of nothing, and basically people are trapped in this supermarket, and it's how they all make their individual choices about what to do. The terror of what is going on inside the mist is something I'll leave it to you for your reader to discover. It's fun, it's exciting, again, bloody entertaining, and it is a fun read, and again, highly recommended. Another book that I really do feel that will get the non-reader or the person who is a lazy reader, don't read. This is a gift that you can give to someone and say, this, I sincerely think that you will enjoy this book and read it over the Christmas period while you don't have any other worries going on in your life and get a whole lot of enjoyment out of reading. I mean, we've got to get back to reading, but at the same time, I understand that the challenges of so much entertainment available, popular culture is just an explosion, and reading is falling behind in its popularity. So my desire is for you to pick a gift, a book, and hand it to someone and say, read this book. You'll really like it. All right. The fourth book is All Quiet on the West. That was right. The fourth book is All Quiet on the Western Front by German writer Erich Maria Remarque, and this was written in 1928. Now, Erich Maria Remarque was a soldier, a German soldier, during the First World War, and served for 4 years fighting the French. And he's written this fantastic book from the soldier's perspective, the unknown soldier, and it talks about a class of young people, 18-year-olds, who are finishing their high school, and because the war has started, they go straight from high school to military training, and then straight from military training to the front, to the war that should have ended all wars. And as we know, that didn't happen. But you can imagine it's the first technological industrial war where millions upon millions of men had to fight and die. In Europe, in the East as well, also in Turkey. So this was a world war where technology was basically driving the war itself. The introduction of tanks and mass artillery and machine guns. Now, the story is great because it's a story of an individual who is struggling and coming to terms with this horror. It is so well written. It is such a simple read, but it really tackles that idea of how do young men react in such awful circumstances where their full lives ahead of them are destroyed in days, minutes, and months. And it's a wonderful... I wouldn't call it an anti-war novel, which people think an anti-war novel. It's not an anti-war novel because you can't be anti-war because war keeps happening. It's a war novel told from the perspective of a young German lad who is fighting in the trenches against the French and his friends and his command. And it's basically a coming-of-age story in the most brutal and savage manner possible. Again, very short, highly entertaining, a pleasurable read because it does give you such an insight into the mind of the early 20th century when modernization was basically becoming so huge that wars basically swallowed up millions and millions of people. It's not a lovely story, but it's a brave and very, very deep-hearted look at young men fighting in a war that supposedly was the war that should have ended all wars. Okay, and finally, a great book which I read. I've read a couple of times, and I myself when I went to Iraq as a soldier in 1991. This is the book that I took in my pack with me because I took one book. And it was the Journal of the Plague Year, by Daniel Defoe, written in 1722. Now, a lot of people have assumed that in the past that this is an actual diary of someone who experienced this plague year. Well, in fact, it's not. It is a novel, but it is a novel of someone who lived within the time space of plagues and mass death from illness in Europe. And Daniel Defoe is very well known as a satirist, a great writer, and the Journal of the Plague Year is a fascinating novel in history. It's steeped in this historical sort of event, the plague, and it is so well written, and you understand that we are talking about it, living in a year where millions of people passed away from the bubonic plague, and the character basically does give us such a real sense of a journal. Like literally, when you read it, it feels so real. It's a remarkable effort, and even though the topic is pretty, it's not very Christmassy, but it's engaging as a narrative. It's a wonderful story. It's well told. Again, it's very brief, and it's something that I really do think that if even your non-reader, if he's introduced to this book, gets into it, gets past the first 5 or 6 pages, will find out, boy, this is a great story. I really enjoyed this book. Okay, so those are the 5 books that I've chosen: In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, The Man Who Fell to Earth by Walter Tevis, The Mist by Stephen King, All Quiet on the Western Front by Erich Remarque, and A Journal of the Plague Year by Daniel Defoe. So you've got 5 books there that I think, I mean, there's hundreds and thousands of books, but I've chosen 5 books that I definitely think that people in your life would want to read once they've discovered, this is a great story. Christmas is here. Christmas is coming. A lot of time off. You can get some good reading in. Now, at the beginning I said, there's a way to promote reading in the gift that you give. Now, I have thought about this, and I'm going, if you're going to give a book to someone, the things that you want to do in order to get across to the person who's receiving your Christmas gift of a book is how you present it. Now, if you look, you can see that there are various ways that you can get your book wrapped. You can have it professionally wrapped. You can also go as far as getting things like, face plates, book plates, which are like stickers that you can put in front of the book and say, this comes from blah, 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 blah. You can, and you can also get an embossed, I mean, I'm not saying you should all go to this, but if you're going to give books for gifts over the next couple of years, it might help to invest in one of these. You can get embossing tools that you clamp down on the page of the book that you're giving, and it says this comes from the library of, blah, 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 whoever you are. So you've got book plates, you've got the cramping of, making a stamp of, and basically lifting the quality of the gift, that you've gone to this trouble to let someone know, I really think you should read this book. So the emboss, I think it's called, what is it, emboss? Yeah, so you can get a custom book embosser made. I mean, you just go on the internet. There's just, again, I'm not going to tell you how to do things because you can find things yourself. I'm just giving you the idea. So the book plates, which are stickers that you can put in on the pages, and you can give a personal, this is to, Steve from Gary, or whatever you want to say. And then you've got the book embosser. The other thing you can do is, I would suggest that you can, if you go to Fiverr, these are extreme ideas. If you want to, you can go to Fiverr, and you can look for someone who has a beautiful handwriting, who can calligrapher, and you can say, you could send them a message saying, can you write this in a beautiful parchment, a nice piece of paper that you can slip into the book, so that when they open the book, they'll have this letter from you, and you can express, I was thinking of you, and this is the book that I thought you would really, really enjoy, and I hope that you do enjoy it. And you can get, the book plates, the book embosser, and you can get someone to write a nice, beautiful, short message on beautiful paper that you can slip inside the book. Again, then you can get someone to wrap your present, your book gift, and you can also go as far as to get ribbons. You can put wax. You can even get a wax embosser, which ties up all your gifts, and you can get one custom made for yourself, so that if you give more than one book, it's not going to waste. Now, these are just ideas. What I'm trying to say is that when that person receives their book, their gift, Christmas gift from you, they're going to see that you went to a hell of a lot of trouble. You've wrapped it beautifully. And what I'm trying to get across is that these will make the person feel that this is a serious gift, that you're giving them something that you consider worthwhile and with value. And hopefully, if those sort of subtle messages in the beautiful presentation, in the pimping up of your present, so to speak, will give them the impetus to say, I'm actually going to try and read this book because my auntie, my uncle, my dad, my brother, whatever, has gone to so much trouble to present me this gift for Christmas 2024, and I am going to make sure that I make the most of this well-thoughtful gift. So what I'm trying to say is, I've given you 5 books that I consider, there's hundreds of others, but I've given you 5 books that I consider will be well read by a diverse range, a huge spectrum of people, readers, non-readers, and hopefully the books will be engaging enough that a couple of people might pick up and go, you know what, I want to read something else by this writer, or I want to try another book by the similar subject. So the beautiful presentation of the gift demonstrates that you love someone, that you care about them, that you've gone out of your way to choose this particular book. And also, don't forget, obviously, you don't have to choose my 5 books. You can choose any book you want. But I've gone for well-known, well-read history books that are very well-known in culture, books that are shortish, the brevity of the message, entertaining, and engaging. Those are the things that I look for when I'm trying to suggest someone to read something who I know nothing about. And that is the whole point of universal stories. That is the whole point of culturally popular books that reach a massive, wide spectrum of citizens. So hopefully this episode has given you some pleasure in thinking about a gift for someone that you care about, the gift of reading, the gift of the book, a gift well presented, beautifully presented, that you've taken time and effort with your book plate, with your book embosser, with your beautifully created message. And again, you can find calligraphers through Fiverr, and someone will, obviously you're going to write an essay that's going to write something about the book or the reason you want to give them this book, and you put that in the book as part of the present. So hopefully we can see lots of new readers for 2025, and it's been a good year. I still have a couple of episodes left to go before the end of 2024. I'm going to go through all the books I'm reading that I've read this year. And what have I just finished? I just finished James Patterson's Along Came a Spider. Not bad. Reading Jordan Peterson's latest tome. That's heavy going. I wouldn't suggest that. And currently in the middle of Dan Simmons' The Fall of Hyperion. It's the second book in the 4-book series. All right, so hopefully you have a great Christmas. And if you've got any questions or any suggestions or any book ideas, please send me an email. So please like and subscribe, spread the word. It's the end of the second year of my channel, and I'm hoping to keep going. And reading is fun, reading is great, reading is good for your soul, reading is good for your mind, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.